Good morning, Transpac race fans. This is your 15 July daily analysis of the 48th running of the Transpac race, LA to Honolulu. I'm Dobbs Davis from Seahorse magazine, here to give you some little news items and some race analysis, position reports, and maybe a little bit more. So we'll start off with our tracker, Yellow Brick. Here's the main screen. Those of you who have played with this hopefully have learned a little bit about its incredible functions. We can see that the first wave is well off the coast. They've been enjoying great breeze, reaching conditions, not running quite yet, but making great progress down the track. In red, of course, is shown our great circle route to Hawaii. We'll see how this group, as well as the succeeding two groups that are starting the rest of this week, will play out relative to that great circle route. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit more now, just to try to highlight some of the features that we'll see of some of the boats on this track. I do recommend that you have a fairly strong broadband connection. I was trying to do this yesterday, tethering off my phone, and the refresh rate was not that great. So now, one of the things we can notice about our tracks with this fleet is that they've straightened up more toward being coincident with the Rumline course to Hawaii. The reason for that, of course, is the breeze, as they've been getting further out away from the coast, has lifted them slightly and also backed off a bit. Maintaining those angles, tight reaching angles in big seas and big breeze is pretty tough. A lot of boats opt for just going as fast as they possibly can, so they tend to crack off a little bit further to the south in anticipation of getting lifted back later, always maximizing their VMG. Now, the ones that have been doing that with greatest effect, of course, are those leaders here shown with the crowns. These are corrected time leaders. We're doing time-on-time scoring this year with Transpac for the first time. And this is Division 7. Patriot, a J44, is going 8.2 knots down the course. Paul Stembler and his team doing a great job. They got 1,893.7 nautical miles to go, according to the last position report from the Yellow Brick. Notice again that this is a 6-hour delay. The reason for that, as I stated yesterday, was just to make this race be a little less tactical, a little more strategic, give the teams a better opportunity to utilize their own analysis of the weather and their strategies, rather than necessarily following others or using input from real-time trackers to do that. So this will change, of course, when the boats get closer to the islands. I think their policy is that once a boat gets to within 100 miles of the finish, the tracker goes live. Okay, so back to Patriot. They are winning and ORR scoring for Division 7. You can see that their last 24 hours they've gone 206 nautical miles, so that's about a little over an 8-knot average is what they're going now. These changes in direction of the track, as I said yesterday, I interpret as being changes in sail configurations. So with a lifting breeze, those that would opt to have the same sail combination would likely be sailing a more northerly course, and as they go into a different sail combination as the breeze goes aft, they might take a more southerly track. So Patriot, for example, I don't know what's in their sail wardrobe, but this is the point where maybe they've gone from an overlapping Genoa headsail to a jib top, for example. I don't think anybody's in spinnakers quite yet. I don't think the breeze direction has lifted far enough aft to support that for these boats. But we will start seeing them soon. Other tracks to look at down here. This is the smallest boat in the fleet, Yasudo Fudo from Japan in Fortissimo 11. This is a 30-foot sport boat built in Italy, designed by Maurizio Cassuti. 2,000 miles to go. They did 138 nautical miles in the last 24 hours. Not very fast, of course, compared to our leaders here, but judging by some of the wiggles in their track, they're probably having an active time out there in the big waves and big seas, and are probably just trying to get through this phase of the race before they can get the wind far enough aft to get a spinnaker up and get surfing. Interestingly enough, another fairly small boat in the fleet, Alpha Puppy, one design 35, has opted for a very different track. You can see that they've actually probably kept the jib up and opted to go high, not cracking off at all. They're averaging a little bit better speed, so it'll be interesting to see what their next move is, opting for this very high road up here. Alpha Puppy and Fortissimo, these boats only have 4 people on board, so this is a real active and athletic experience for them. Here, Bazinga as well, Hobie 33. Those of you that know this design, it's narrow, light, boat really optimized for off-wind sailing. They're getting through this part of the course, probably in great anticipation for having the wind go further aft when they can really get up and go for what this boat's designed for. This boat too also has only a crew of 4, so they're doing quite well, hanging in tight with the larger boats in this part of the race. I expect to see them probably move up a bit as we get with the wind a little further aft. Sweeta Coley also kind of bringing up the rear in this lead pack. This boat, built in Hawaii and Koa and Cedarwood, is a beautiful, beautiful boat. A very old boat, 1976 design actually, designed in the IOR days by Bruce Farr, and has done many, many races to Hawaii. They're going along quite well, 7.9 knots, quite a good speed for a boat of this vintage. And I'm just looking around here. Yeah, here's our other boat that is crewed by only 4 people. J105 Creative. It's pretty impressive to me that Ed Sanford and his crew on this boat are hanging in just behind the leaders with a good 7-knot average. That's pretty impressive for that boat and where they are. So I'm going to keep my eyes on them. But currently our leader, and in fact this is overall, is Marjorie. Marjorie is a very interesting boat. It's a ketch split rig boat, so they're obviously have a lot of horsepower up in the rigging plan, are putting it to good use in this part of the race. Now, this boat looks traditional, but it actually is not. I did a little research on Marjorie, and this is what Marjorie looks like down below. You know, everything beautiful interior. It's a Stevens Waring design, very nicely built at Brooklyn Boatyard in Maine. But don't be fooled by the exterior and these appearances. This is actually a modern layup. It's built with Kevlar, and the spars are carbon. I mean, this is very much a wolf in sheep's clothing. So I think certainly fitting that they're out in front. They're putting it all to good use now. 9.5 knot average is really impressive. We'll see how that works. I mean, this is probably the ideal point of sale for this boat and this rig. So in order to maintain that overall standing, they'll really have to put the miles on now, because as the wind goes further aft and you get into running conditions, I think some of these other boats might be able to catch up. But that's our situation. Now I'm going to scroll back a little bit in time and show you just a little bit of news from what's happened from yesterday. We actually had, if you look over here, 2 boats that turned around and went back. Picante, a J133, was actually leading the pack a little before this time yesterday, and unfortunately they noticed some cracks in the keel bolts is what I heard from my reports. You know, not anything severe. Nobody's hurt. The boat's not breaking apart. But in the interest of safety, they've opted to head back to the coast. So I believe they're all back and tied up now. Also, this boat, Vivacia, also turned back. They say mechanical issues. Another report I heard was that they were taking on water through the deck. So I'm not quite sure what's going on there. But good news is that nobody hurt, no injuries, and they're just going to have to do Transpac another time, but both boats, I believe, are back in Long Beach, all safe and sound. Let's see, some other news that we have with regards to the race is that Lending Club, the 105-foot very high-speed trimaran intending to break the break the race record, has instead opted to break a course record. Now the reason, so they've dropped out of the race start for Saturday, and actually today will be going to Hawaii on the same course. And the reason for that is when we switch over here to our weather picture, the projections for later in the week are not great for having the same breeze that we're seeing this first wave of starters enjoy off the coast. If we look forward a bit now, this is using the GFS model. You can see very well developed tide, good strong isobars here. Boats coming off the coast this way are enjoying good breeze, 15-20 knots typically is what everybody's getting. One concern, of course, is this big bulge in the isobars and probably a drop in the breeze strength over here. But as we get further forward in time, we have to keep our eyes out for this feature here. This tropical depression that's heading up toward the course area is throwing a little bit of a monkey wrench into the isobar orientations. Notice this big dip here and this big gap. This is this is for Sunday, projected for Sunday evening GMT, so it's Sunday morning in Pacific time. So first 12 hours of the race for the last class to start on Saturday, and it just looks like really light air over here. So it might be a tough time for a while for the boats in the last class to get off started if these model conditions hold true. Lending Clubs has been busy trying to mop up some record-breaking runs around the planet. They did Cowes to Dinard across the channel, English Channel, earlier in the year. They did Newport to Bermuda, set a record there. One of their goals in doing this race was to try to set a course record here. Not only a race record, but a course record, and they're concerned that by leaving on Saturday, they will really be compromising the ability to set the course record. So they're going to head off today at some point. I don't have any specific reports on when that's going to happen, but it's all because they don't like what this looks like in the for this weekend and some of the weather. We'll go back a little bit, and this is again a GFS model. If I switch over to the European model, the pattern changes slightly now. This the latest I can get on this one right now in the model run is Saturday 1500 GMT. So this is before the start by several hours, but once again, this model showing quite a big spacing here in the isobars. So winds forecasted to be probably a bit lighter getting off the coast. Not so bad if you take it literally. In here, 15 knots certainly isn't bad, but once you get out in here, it may get a little dodgy. So that news from Lending Club. I will also share some emails that have been coming through that are really pretty good. Marjorie saying the following. Marjorie's named after the owner, Gardwin Baldwin's mother. Her birthday was July 13th, 1915, exactly 100 years before Monday's start, in which the boat named after her started her first Transpac. Marjorie Baldwin also has passed, but on the occasion of her birthday seems a fitting tribute and one which warrants mentioning. So congratulations to the team on Marjorie on celebration of her namesake's birthday. Some other news from Transformer 3 comments, all well with vessel and crew. The chairman of the Departments of Water, Power, and Gas has all systems up and running. We are go boat to Hawaii. So good news from them. We're going to be posting, by the way, a lot of this sort of content up on the social media. I'll just point out a couple of other features here in the Yellow Brick Tracker. The social media tab over here does list latest tweets that come through from that form of social media. I don't know that we have a Facebook tab on this one, but the other feature is looking at teams. If you want to follow your favorite team, you can use this tab over here on the left. and also the leaderboard. This is quite a handy tool. It defaults to Division 0, but if you choose overall, you can get who's been racing out there in the course and what their overall scoring looks like. Also the choice, as I explained yesterday, of their most recent times and how they've been doing in the last 5 position reports, or how they've been doing on average relative from the start. So all great tools from Yellow Brick. This is really a great asset that we have here for Transpac. And again, a reminder, 6-hour delay, so anything that you're seeing is not live. And if you want to go back and look at some of the tracks, feel free to use some of these other tools. They're really great, and a great source of entertainment. So with that, I'll wrap it up for today. We will join you with another forecast for tomorrow here from Transpac 48th edition. And so I'll say so long for now. This is Dobbs Davis from Seahorse Magazine.